Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Up Close on METV. I'm Charles Clapsaddle, Station Manager for Manatee Educational Television, and it's our great pleasure to have with us today three individuals who are going to talk about a very important project that's coming up in just a few short weeks. Joining us today are Lieutenant Colonel retired Tom Piazza. Tom, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Robin Bell, conductor of the Pops Orchestra. And also joining us today is Lieutenant Colonel, retired, Jack Barnett, Chairman of the Pops Orchestra. Jack, thank you for joining us as well. Now, Tom, we've been very fortunate to have worked with you over several years on your initiatives for Flag Day. And out of those initiatives, you have started quite a movement with your foundation. So can you give us a little bit of a background on the genesis of how this all began?
Well, thank you very much, Charles. I'd love to do that, and thank you very much for inviting me to be here today. Really, the genesis goes back to 2012, when the Military Officers Association of America published 14 different resolutions for approval by its membership at its annual convention. One of those resolutions called for local chapters to begin initiatives within their local communities to provide training on citizenship, the American flag, the Constitution, etc. Now, I was very intrigued by that resolution because I thought that that was already being done by the local school systems. So I did a little online research. I found that the Florida legislature had mandated that that instruction take place, but in talking with a number of teacher friends that I had, I found out that that wasn't necessarily true. Higher priorities, lack of resources, time available, prevented the teachers from doing that particular thing. Now, it was about that same time that the Patterson Foundation began its Legacy of Valor campaign. And if you'll recall, the overriding themes of that campaign were inspiring patriotism, embracing freedom, and honoring our nation's veterans. Now, I thought that this was an opportunity for my chapter here in Sarasota to do something about the request for by MOAA. And so I went to my board and asked my board if I could prepare a proposal to submit that to the Patterson Foundation for potential funding and support to create a program that would allow us to teach school children about the American flag, the Constitution, the free enterprise system, proper etiquette and protocol of the flag, etc. My board approved. I prepared a proposal. I submitted it to the Patterson Foundation, and the Patterson Foundation accepted my proposal and approved funding pending completion of the curriculum. I then set out working with the Sarasota County School Board and several very, let's just say, intelligent and motivated teachers who worked with me to begin to develop a curriculum that could be integrated on a voluntary basis within the elementary school system. Now, I lovingly refer to this as the American Flag Protocol Initiative. And the outcome of that was a 10-lesson curriculum that is now being implemented within Sarasota County schools, and starting in academic year 2013-2014, and has now proceeded into a large number of those schools and is being spread actually throughout the country. Manatee County, Highlands County, Volusia County, and now other states. Manchester, Connecticut is integrating it. Ohio is integrating it. Texas and Missouri are integrating it through the local chapters there of the Military Officers Association of Sarasota. Now, that curriculum was only one of several components of the American Flag Protocol Initiative. Another component was the opportunity for school principals to invite organizational color guards to come to their school at the end of the day and have a formal flag retreat ceremony that would demonstrate the proper protocol and etiquette that was due the American flag. Yet another component was a corporate and citizen educational program to teach them and remind them about the American flag. And we published a pamphlet with the help of Gulf Shore Media, as well as other organizations, that a 16-page pamphlet that was distributed in thousands of copies in Sarasota and Manatee County, published in Sarasota Magazine, to help the adult population, business community, and civic community understand better how to treat the American flag. The last component led us then to our flag initiative and our flag ceremonies. And that was to conduct an annual flag retirement ceremony at Patriot Plaza.
Which is a beautiful facility, again, through the generosity and the vision
absolutely
of the Patterson
magnificent
Foundation.
facility, and I would encourage any listeners who have not been there to go there and see that beautiful structure, to see the history, to see all of the value sets that are distributed there through the form of artwork. Now, what I was hoping to be able to do was these would be free concerts. They would be open to the general public. They would be conducted on Flag Day, June 14th, and they would provide some history, some background, and some education for those attending. In talking with a number of other veterans who had a lot of experience in doing this kind of thing, one of the things that they emphasized was if you're going to draw a crowd, you better have a performance. They're not just going to come out for a ceremony. They're going to come out for a performance. You need to have music, you need to have entertainment, you need to have singers, and I began to think about that and how could I pull all that together. I just happened to be a season ticket holder for the Sarasota Pops at Bradenton and Sarasota, and after one of the performances, my wife said, you know, this would be a great organization to have your Flag Day event. And so I approached Robin and Jack and asked them whether or not they would be interested in performing at a Flag Day event on the 14th of June of 2015. And they were happy to do that because they wanted to do that for a long time. And having this as an opportunity to perform was super. So we began to put together the program. And we reached out to a young man by the name of Vane Scott III, who lives in Newcomerstown, Ohio, and whose father owned a flag-making company, had a performance that he developed that was called Glory, the Stars and Stripes. And in any case, Vane had taken up his father's work and his father's performance when his father passed away. And so we reached out to Vane and asked him if he would be willing to come to Sarasota on Flag Day and conduct this performance, which is basically the history of the United States flag by talking about and describing the 26 different flags that flew over the colonies during the Revolutionary War.
Accompanied
by a symphonic
Pops
orchestra, and we had the Pops standing by to do that. And so there was the exchange of the score. Robin worked very diligently to make that possible through her orchestra. Vane came down, we had many rehearsals, and we had a wonderful performance on the 14th of June, which was a Sunday evening. The weather was great. The magnificent crowd that showed up, about 2,500 people, came to the free concert.
And METV was very fortunate to be invited to tape the event, and it turned out wonderfully.
It turned out wonderfully. And thank you again for providing that. Now, it was such a wonderful event that a few days after the event, an anonymous donor came forward and made a $25,000 contribution to the Community Foundation of Sarasota County to continue those types of efforts, not only the flag initiative and the curriculum, but to the ceremonies at Patriot Plaza, etc.
Maybe I could just jump in just for a second, if I could, because when you were mentioning your interest in having a organization collaborate with you on programs out at Patriot Plaza. Actually, we were working at the same time. We were very interested in trying to use that facility. It was such a marvelous place. The acoustics are great, and of course, it's such a dramatic setting that we were very much wanted to schedule a performance out there. And a number of us in the Pops Orchestra started working with some of the veterans groups, and we were very fortunate, I think, to form this partnership with the Military Officers Association Sarasota chapter, because that provided kind of a synergy between the military organizations and the arts organizations, and so it really led us to that first program back 2 years ago.
Right.
And then the benefits for the musicians is that everybody, since I've lived in Bradenton and Sarasota, said, oh, there's so much to do in season. There's nothing to do over the summer. And so now we had an opportunity to perform June 14th, over the summer, our musicians have opportunity to play, where otherwise they're just sort of sitting around doing nothing. Well, maybe they're practicing, I'm not sure. But to bring a concert, a free concert of this type to the community when there's nothing else to go and be entertained by, it was a real synergistic experience.
Well, and the reputation of the Pops and the quality of the Pops is something that people really enjoy. And I think that one of the key parts here is, and this is, through the generosity again of the Patterson Foundation, is that these events at the at Patriot Plaza are free and open to the public, which is a wonderful thing. And people come out there and they can celebrate and be in this wonderful atmosphere and enjoy a concert and it's something with a historic background. And that's what your vision, Tom, brought to this community.
Well, and I'm just so happy to be able to partner with such a great organization as the Pops Orchestra. And I'll say that after we received this gift and after we had this wonderful experience, we saw that there was general synergy and it was a great opportunity for us to form a partnership. And so we formed a partnership and we formed what we call the Stars and Stripes Foundation, which is
of which you're the chair.
Of which I'm the chair, and which mission is basically to continue the thoughts and the threads of the Patterson Legacy of Valor campaign, instilling patriotism, embracing freedom, and honor our nation's veterans. And so we set out again with some feedback from some of our audience saying that although they loved the performance the Bain Scott put on, they really wanted to have more music, more patriotic music. So what a wonderful opportunity for us to turn to Robin and Jack and say, here's what we'd like to do the next time around. Could you develop a wonderful program that just focuses on patriotic music? Robin's been waiting a long time to do something like that, and particularly at Patriot Plaza. And so it was a natural for this Pops, it was a natural for Robin. And to make it even better, we were able to involve a singing organization, a chorus by the name of Gloria Musicae.
Which is a wonderful organization based out of Sarasota of top-notch performers, and then couple that with the quality and the caliber of the Pops Orchestra, and then you have another success on your hands.
Absolutely.
I think Robin probably could talk a little bit about how we first got associated with Joe Holt, who's the conductor, and led was an accompanist for the Army Chorus in Washington, D.C. for over 20 years, I believe. Maybe you know a little bit more about that, Robin.
Yeah, but Joe and I have known each other for a long time. Joe Holt, who's the conductor of Gloria Musicae, and from my friends that do this sort of same orchestra experience that we do here up in Virginia, they had Joe come in and play piano because he's an amazing pianist. And so 4 years ago, he actually soloed on the Rhapsody in Blue with the Pops Orchestra. So we had already established a relationship with him. And when we said, we need a chorus to sing for this Flag Day event we did last summer, I said, that's the group to go to. Plus, they do a July 4th concert, and they're sort of right there together, so they were kind of already rehearsing that kind of music. It was perfect.
And I think the Pops Orchestra, which is the community orchestra for Bradenton and Sarasota, it's been around for over 40 years. It's our 41st year, actually.
And again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Your reputation and the quality of the Pops Orchestra continues to grow. And under the conductorship of Robin, the expanse continues to reach out throughout the community for a wide variety of concerts.
Well, we're so happy to have her as our conductor. I mean, what community can brag about having two beautiful women conductors of orchestras other than Sarasota and Bradenton area? I mean, it's fantastic.
And I think that's a wonderful thing. Aside from all the other things that Robin does, with the State College of Florida, she has dedicated this time and her effort and her talent to the Pops Orchestra as well. So the concert was a wonderful concert.
And again, METV was there.
Very fortunate to
production.
participate in it. And one of the things that you do is you bring together a lot of different elements. I think you had some scouts there that were
Boy Scouts. We had the American Legion, of course, that participated. We had the Young Marines from Venice Middle School that participated in the flag retirement ceremony.
And which was a very moving ceremony, because I don't think people have seen a retirement ceremony. What do you do with your flag? And it was a very solemn yet a very inspiring portion of the entire event.
Yes, and I just want to thank all of those organizations, because it was summertime, and for those younger people, they were taking time off from their summer vacation to help us out. And they were just magnificent, and we appreciate that very much.
One of the most dramatic moments, I think, of that event was two of our trumpet players played taps, and it was an antiphonal
It's true.
performance where the one bugler was on stage, and then the echo came actually back from the cemetery, and it was just
very
really
meaningful.
dramatic.
It's very meaningful, and you see the flags in the background. It was a wonderful event, and for both events that you have, sold out, standing room only crowds, that fill the amphitheater there at Patriot Plaza. And if I remember correctly, and I think I do, is that prior to last year's event, the skies were dark and it was gray, and it looked, and I think it was just not a very miserable day, and I think it might have even been raining. Minutes before you were scheduled to start, the skies cleared, no rain, and it went off without a hitch.
We actually even had a rainbow.
Yes,
That's
actually.
true.
And for that, we owe our thanks again to 3 military chaplains that were there, and they were helping us in any way they possibly could.
Well, the point is that, what your mission has done, and what you, as chair of the foundation, has really kind of instilled the sense of not only patriotism, but of country, for young people as well as this great community that we all live in. The Flag Day that you did with Vane Scott was wonderful. It was very historical in perspective, and he had represented flags from all the iterations that were there. The music was an important component of it. Last year, it became even more so with the Gloria Musicae as well as the Pops. And then you say to yourself, very successful, great thing, what do I do next? Where do I go? And I'm sure that your vision and foresight, you're always planning on something, which brings us to, the purpose of this program is to talk about something very significant that the Pops and the MOAA are planning together, and it's really unique. It's new to this community, and we want to hear a lot about the details. So, Tom, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit what's coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Well, the name of the production is A Tribute to America's Veterans. And if you remember, there were 3 different components to the mission of the Stars and Stripes Foundation: inspiring patriotism, embracing freedom, and honor our nation's veterans. Now, while the ceremonies at Patriot Plaza to some degree honor our veterans, it's not a direct honor if you direct it at them specifically. And so we decided that what we wanted to do was to focus on our local area veterans, the veterans that cover many, many different wars, many different conflicts, starting from World War II through Korea, into Vietnam, and into the early Gulf period. And that's many different generations with lots of different experiences.
Very much so.
But we wanted to do something that honored them. And we began to think about how best to do that, and it struck us that one way to do that was to bring back to them remembrances, good remembrances, that they may have experienced while they were in those areas of conflict. And so it struck us that we should have a USO type show. And much like Bob Hope in the past, taking entertainers, taking dancers, taking comedians, taking beauty pageant winners, a touch of home, bringing that back and passing that from Algeria all the way to Korea to World War II and all of these different places, the Pacific, etc. Bringing that piece of home back to entertain those young men and women that were there defending our country. And so we started to put something like that together. And I thought, where are we going to find a Bob Hope? There must be a Bob Hope impersonator somewhere. Well, my wife got online, and sure enough, there are 3 different impersonators. And the one that I struck upon was a gentleman by the name of Bill Johnson, who lives in Las Vegas and actually does USO-type shows for the USO now.
As Bob Hope.
As Bob Hope. And so I contacted him and asked if he might be interested in coming to Sarasota and performing for us here, and he was more than happy to do that. And so we made an arrangement, and then from there we began to move forward. We began to look for local talent that could provide those guest appearances of all of those stars that he brought with him on his shows. And there's a lot of talent in this area, and a lot of people who wanted to perform, and we had auditions, and we struck upon 5 different people that would be able to help us and perform multiple roles that represented the singing and the dancing and the songs of the World War II into the Korea period, into Vietnam.
What a great idea.
And
what a
so
great idea.
With that, then I turned to the Pops and said, can you make this happen?
And an important part of the Bob Hope efforts throughout all of the years was music, and he was always big on music and the songs of each era. turning to the Pops Orchestra and saying, well, we've got this wonderful entertainer coming. What can you bring to it? And Robin, you know, I'm sure that the music component of this is fascinating. It's music from all these different eras.
Yes, two important things for me. Number one, my father flew helicopters in the Vietnam War. So things like this touch home to me because I grew up with his stories and how much serving his country meant to him. War stories that people get tired of hearing those things. I could listen to my dad talk about his being shot down, 1,000 times. It's just wonderful. The second thing, what I love most about being the conductor of the Pops is the creativity it allows me. And so when Tom came and said, we want to do music from this era and this era and this era, I was like, wow, this is going to be really cool because we can sort of flex our muscles as an orchestra because music during World War II is very different than music during the Persian Gulf Wars. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to put these sort of medleys together and package this war and then package this war and then work with the entertainers to say, what are you going to sing on, and is this in the right key? And there's a whole bunch of different components to go in to putting that show on for the audience. They're going to love it.
And it's an exciting type of thing too, because as your audience, and I'm sure, and we're going to put information up about how people can get tickets and find, because there's several performances that a couple of performances we're going to talk about. But it's not only the remembrances that people go, oh, I remember that song. It's also a tribute. And that's an important part of it as well.
Well, a funny side note, Tom and I met, and of course we aren't in the same generation. There's a couple of years difference here, and he was talking about
just a few, I would say.
He was talking about some performers with Bob Hope, and he named somebody. I don't remember who you said, and I go, who? I've never heard of that person, And it was sort of eye-opening that I probably need to go back and see if on YouTube there's some other things and do some more research. It was very educational for me as well.
Well, I think the components of this, and you've shared a little bit about Bob Johnson. He's probably been doing this for many, many years, and has that persona and the quips. And Bob Hope was famous for the quips and always having beautiful women with him when he went on these tours. It's a wonderful program, but at the same time, the underlying idea here is to pay tribute to these great men and women that have served our country.
Yes, absolutely.
I can just maybe offer a little something, because I had an opportunity when I was in college to go on a couple of USO tours myself, never with Bob Hope, but one of them we performed in Iceland. And we took a helicopter up to a signal unit's site up on a mountain in Iceland, and there were about 18 soldiers that were stationed there. They would come off the mountain about once a month, and you can imagine how they felt when this troop of, I think we had 6 or 7 performers, of which 4 of them were women, how much they were thrilled with us coming there. And then actually when I went into the military, one of the jobs that I really cherished was actually working with entertainers who were traveling in USO troops throughout Europe. And so I had an opportunity to work with many of those organizations. So when Tom and I and Robin were talking about what we might do, it really brought back some good memories to me. And we have 70,000 military veterans in this area who I know that many of them have gone to USO shows during their time in the service. And it really, when you're stationed far away, it really means something when you can have a piece of home come back to you.
And Jack, that's an excellent point, because those USO shows that were all over the world, whether it was in Iceland or Vietnam or in the theaters in Europe or in the Pacific, it was that touch of home. Right. It was that you could recognize the music and hear the stories, and it was very significant. And taking that concept and bringing it to the veterans that are here now is really not only a great tribute, but also gives them something to really remember as part of their history. So that's an excellent point. USO's shows meant a great deal to the military veterans.
Actually, I know that back in Abraham Lincoln's day, that he actually was present at some soldier shows during the Civil War, and actually wrote a letter. A friend of mine worked at the Library of Congress, and he told me about a letter that Abraham Lincoln had written, and in that letter he mentioned the performers that came and performed for some of the Union troops in the Civil War.
And that's the consistent thread, the kind of, it's the same thing that, under Tom's leadership about, the American history and the history of the American flag, is to understand that there's some significant things that have to be kind of retained and remembered. And this celebration of the shows is one thing, but the underlying fact to me is that we're paying tribute and homage to those people who are veterans, and at the same time remembering the flag. So let's talk a little bit about the specifics of the event, because it's very exciting. And how many dates do you have, Tom?
Well, let me pass that on to Jack and ask Jack would fill us in on all those details.
Right.
Sure.
We're going to put graphics up throughout the
great.
show.
Well, we're doing performances on Sunday, the 13th of November, and that's going to be at the Riverview Performing Arts Center. That's a wonderful venue, which is on the campus of Riverview High School, and it's a brand new theater. They've got just put in some new sound equipment, and I think it's going to be a wonderful place. We've been performing there. I think this is our third year that we've had that as one of our Pops Performing Arts venues. And then on Monday, the 14th, we'll be up in Bradenton at the Neal Performing Arts Center, which is on the campus of the State College of Florida. And of course, Robin,
you're familiar with that place, aren't you?
She
Home
is
away
very
from
familiar. And I think Robin could tell us a little bit more about what we're playing. Actually, I play percussion in the orchestra as well as being on the board.
Excellent.
And Robin's been driving us pretty hard to get ready for this program.
Well, it's very exciting. First of all, two different venues is a little different. Or you have to relocate, and there's different requirements and technical issues for both. But it's very exciting to have two different venues, because it's two different communities, and both, as you mentioned, there's thousands of veterans throughout Sarasota and Manatee, and this is something that you would encourage families to come to as well. At Neal, when you perform at Neal, which you're very familiar with, what is kind of the scope of the production? And I imagine it's the same type of show at Riverview as well?
It'll be the same show. So if you come to the shows, and you can come to both if you like it on Sunday, you're welcome to come Monday and hear it again. You're going to hear the Andrews Sisters doing Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy.
Oh, very cool.
We have Marilyn Monroe doing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. We have Lily Marlene being performed.
Wow.
We have a medley that I found way deep in the Pops library that probably hadn't seen the light of day in forever. And it's fantastic. It's called Songs You Knew During World War II.
Wow.
And it's just this medley of all these tunes, and sometimes I have to stop and I go, can somebody tell me what song this is? I don't. Which brings me to the point, on Monday, October 31st, our second chair trombone player turns 95. So the Pops Orchestra, our youngest player is 15. And every Monday night, these people with 8 decades span
of
there get together,
experience.
and make music. We're also doing, for our Vietnam War era, we're doing a medley of Simon and Garfunkel music. Cool. It's a big variety. I think they'll know every single tune and be entertained from beginning to end of the shows.
And that's the real beauty of doing this USO style tribute with the Bob Hope. because his reign went from World War II all the way through the Gulf Wars, and it's very significant.
Nobody's going to be
And nothing
bored.
says, nothing captures the spirit of that than music, and that's an integral part of this whole presentation.
Well, much like Bob Hope and all of his USO shows, they went to where the troops were.
Exactly.
In this case, we're going to where the veterans are.
That's
Instead
it.
of having everyone come out to Patriot Plaza,
Right.
we're going to go down to Sarasota, and we're going to have a wonderful performance at Riverview, and then the next day we're going up to Manatee and have another wonderful performance in Manatee County.
And it's a wonderful concept to do this, kind of spread the wealth, so to speak. Now, how can people find out about tickets? Do you need tickets to do that? Can you show up at the door? How can people find out about how they can attend both of these? Jack?
Well, the best way to do it actually is to go to our website, www.thepopsorchestra.org.
We've got that up on the screen.
Great, and on there you can purchase tickets for either of the performances. Now we actually have, if you are a veteran or a family member of a veteran, we actually have a veterans discount for those tickets as well. But the tickets prices range from $15 to $25 each.
Very reasonable.
And we wanted to make it affordable so that everyone can join us for these events. I think they're going to really be great. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're very excited about it. Robin mentioned our most senior musician in the Pops, who's 95, and he actually served in both the Army and the Air Force.
Wow.
So it's really amazing.
So I mean, so this has some significance to him.
Well, and to several players in the orchestra are veterans, both men and women, and we're thrilled to honor them and to honor all of the veterans that are going to be coming. One of the pieces that Robin will be conducting is a salute to the armed forces,
wonderful.
where we go through every branch of the service, including the Coast Guard, and honor them. And of course, we'll invite the members of the audience who have either were in or have relatives that were in those branches of the service stand to be recognized.
That's a wonderful tribute as well. And
what I think is fun about that piece of music is, like Jack said, we have about 10% of the Pops Orchestra that are military veterans. And when we play that and we get to their service anthem song, they stop playing and they stand up. It's so cool. As a conductor, it's really cool.
And I must say this, Robin, having seen you conduct not only at SCF, but and your partnership with the MOAA, you're a wonderful host of a program. You have this great interaction with the audience as well as with the orchestra, and you're a wonderful host of the thing. And you get people to enjoy it. You're really are very conversant with them, and it makes people feel so much more involved and engaged with the program.
Well, thank you, Charles. I think this show, I'm going to hand those reins over to Bob Hope, but I'm sure we will be bantering a little bit.
I'm pretty sure you will be.
Well, it's never stuffy with Robin, the conductor. And of course, this is actually the first of four concerts that we'll be doing throughout the season. We have,
perfect. And
I maybe Robin had just briefly mentioned the others that are coming up after this November concert.
We have a Holiday Pops, a Jolly Pops concert that we're doing. Jolly Pops. We have Rich Rodnauer, who's a world famous piano player, going to be joining us for Valentine's Pops, and then we have an electric viola player from New York, Martha Mook. She's coming down in April, and that's going to be like a rock and roll concert.
Wow. Now, and people can find out all of these information about the dates and the times and the venues for this by going to your website.
Absolutely.
So not only can they find the specific information about the November concerts, but they can find out about your whole season by going there as well. And I would encourage people to do that because, it's a wonderful time, it's a wonderful orchestra, it's fun, it's engaging, and at the same time, there's this like really quality sound that you produce through the Pops.
We actually call the Pops music you love by musicians you know, because we are the community orchestra.
That should go in a T-shirt.
That's a good idea.
Well, we're kind of running down on time, and I want to go around the table. First of all, Tom, I've got to tell you, congratulations to you.
Well, thank you, Charles.
not only for the vision of putting this together, but for the work that you continue to do with the schools, of engaging young people in those very important factors of American history, of flag etiquette, flag history, which there is a lack of. So hopefully you continue to do that program for many years to come.
Well, thank you, and we will continue to do that, and as I said, we're making tremendous progress in the various school systems. Let me just mention that as much as we would have liked to have made this concert that's coming up, a tribute to America's veterans, free for our veterans, we're just not able to do that. But the proceeds from this event will be used to support additional free events that will be taking place at Patriot Plaza. The second thing I'd like to mention is all of the things that we talked about today, the movies, the film, the taping that you took of the two events at Patriot Plaza, as well as information about the flag protocol, the curriculum, those are on our website at www.starsandstripescelebration.com. And if anyone would like to go and see what we're doing,
on the screen, so people
that would be tremendous.
But again, it was your initial vision to say, I need to do something. I want to do something. And from that vision, incorporating not only the Pops, but other organizations to help share that vision is a wonderful effort, and you're to be congratulated for
Well,
that.
thank you. But I could not have done it without tremendous support from people like Robin, like Jack, organizations like the Pops Orchestra, but there are many other organizations in the community that support our veterans and have done wonderful things and have provided us a lot of tremendous support over the last 3 or 4 years and have pledged to continue to do so. So I want to thank the entire community for helping us just to operationalize these ideas and these thoughts.
And I'll tell you, Tom, this community should thank you for your efforts as well. Jack, we're going to go to you. How can people find out about tickets, and give us the dates and times of the events again?
Okay, so Sunday, November 13th at the Riverview Performing Arts Center in Sarasota. Monday the 14th up in Bradenton at the Neal Performing Arts Center on the campus of the State College of Florida. You can get tickets at www.thepopsorchestra.org. And please come and enjoy the Pops.
And Robin, for you, what can people expect? Tell us about that musical experience that people are going to see at both of these performances, along with this wonderful entertainer, Bill Johnson, who's going to be the Bob Hope host.
When I go to a concert, sometimes I keep looking at my watch thinking, I've been here for an hour and a half. This show, when we're done, you're going to be like, that was 15 minutes long. It's going to just whiz by because our audience members from start to finish are going to have a smile on their face. They're going to be tapping their toes. They're going to enjoy every single moment, from what the orchestra's playing by themselves to the guest artists that are performing to Bill Johnson as Bob Hope running the whole show for us. I'm hoping it's the most entertaining afternoon and evening you're going to have all season.
Well, with you conducting it, I'm sure it'll be very entertaining. And not only that, the Pops Orchestra is, and under your leadership and vision of this, is a wonderful community asset, and continued success with that. Tom, I'm going to give you the last word. First of all, again, congratulations for doing this. It seems like when you did the Bain Scott thing, and I thought, well, this is a wonderful idea. This is a great performance. And then you did the Gloria Musicae with the Pops thing, and I thought, that's really good. But now you're continuing to top yourself each successive program. But you do this because it's important for the community.
It's important for the community. It's important for our youth to understand these value sets and understand how they are inspired to serve their own country in some ways, not so much in the military. It's just giving back to their community and being good citizens. And I think that's all that we could hope for.
Thank you, Tom.
Well,
I really appreciate your time. Robin, it's always a pleasure to see you, and thank you for doing that. And Jack, thank you for bringing this insight, not only what the Pops does, but the significance of this program. And I would encourage everyone to find out about this concerts on November 13th and 14th. Go to thepopsorchestra.org, find out of the specific information of how ticket sales are available. It's a wonderful concert. It's going to be very entertaining, fun, uplifting, and at the same time honoring our veterans. Congratulations to Tom Piazza and Robin Bell and Jack, for their efforts in trying to do something significant for the veterans in our community. If you have any information, go to the websites, find out how you can find out more about this wonderful concert. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on Up Close on METV.